Hi everyone. For today, I'm going to teach you the basics of HTML and CSS. Basically, the face of web application. So I would like to show to you this web page that I made. It's a simple web page. It's a profile web page, and today I'm going to teach you how to make this using HTML and CSS. So before we start, I would like to explain to you what is HTML and CSS. So HTML and CSS, let's do a quick Google search. HTML, you call that as the hypertext markup language. And for you to better understand what that is, later I will show you what HTML is. Um, and we also have CSS. CSS means cascading style sheets. Cascading style sheets. Okay. Um, I will show you the code that I used here. HTML is the thing that we use to put pictures, to put text, to put numbers on the web page. CSS is what we use to tell the browser what is the color of something, how big it is, will it be rounded or not. That is CSS. So to show you how this is done, I would like to suggest that you um, download Visual Studio Code. This is what I use to make my codes. I will put the link to uh, to the source of where you can get Visual Studio Code, and I also link up. I also put in the description how will you be able to um, download properly Visual Studio Code. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make a folder. So let's say that you were able to download Visual Studio Code. Um, you make a folder, and then let's name this as profile. Profile. Let's name this as profile. And then since something is already open in my Visual Studio Code, I'll just put this here. Okay. So once we put the folder here in Visual Studio Code, you click this, and then we're going to create our first file. So we're going to name it index.html. So in index.html, this is where we'll be putting the text. Okay. This is where we'll be putting the text. So let's start. Press shift and then press 1. We make this exclamation mark. Press tab, and then we would automatically create this template for HTML. And then over here, document, we can replace this with the title of our page. Let's name it as profile. And then over here, okay, I'm going to show you what is the first thing that we usually learn in HTML. We learn H1. Type H and 1, press tab, and then you type something in the middle. Let's say I type my name, Sean. Control S. And then what we're going to do is we go over here in this folder. We click index and then we open it using Google Chrome. And there, as you can see on this side, we can see the name Sean, my name. Another trick here in HTML is that when you press Shift and Alt at the same time, and then you press the button down button, you can duplicate the code that you written on top. For example, we type my surname Hernandez, Control S to save, and let's refresh, and it will appear. Okay, so everyone, I've placed in the browser my name, Sean, and Hernandez, my surname, over here. And you also have something what we call as an H2. For example, I put Sean here, Control S, and we look into the page. There, smaller Sean. Now, everyone, I'm going to slowly teach you how we will make the profile that I have shown you earlier. So what we will do is I'm going to introduce to you another thing. This is what we call as list. How do we put list in HTML? We have two types of lists. We have OL, meaning ordered list. Type OL, press tab, press enter, type LI, tab again. Example, we type A, and then using Shift and Alt, we duplicate it, Control S, and let's look at the web browser. Now we have a list, an order list. So we usually use an order list to put numbers like this 1, 2, 3. Another one, counterpart of the ordered list is called as the unordered list, called as UL. So let me just copy this, copy, Control B. Let's keep it there so that you can see the comparison. Control S. Okay. So OL and UL, they both list out a list, but the main difference is that OL it numbers it. For example, 1, 2, 3. But in UL, it does not number it. It just shows a bullet. Now, using this knowledge that we learned, let's try to type um, the things that were in the design earlier. Let's type H1, tab, the word profile. Um, let's type an H2, my name, and then a UL, tab, tab, LI, tab. For example, I am an art teacher. I'm also a JavaScript developer, meaning I am more versed with the use of JavaScript in developing websites. And what else? I'm also a startup founder. Let's see. Oh, there. So that's how we use HTML to create our to put text on our page. So let's try to open the page earlier. The page earlier, the page earlier, it had the word profile on top, my name, our teacher. So it has a picture. So how do we put a picture in the web browser? How do we put a picture here? So what we do is that we just copy this picture, copy it, we copy it, and we go to this profile, paste, paste, and then what we do is this: we type img tab. If you notice, compared to H1, H2, and UL, img doesn't have a closing counterpart. So in SRC, we type the file name of the thing that we want to connect, and then alt usually refers to an alternative name. So let's see. So there's my picture profile. Okay. Next, you might be thinking, it still looks unorganized. How will we organize it? We're going to make the CSS. So CSS, everyone, is the code we use to make our to put color and shape into our web pages. So this is how we do it. We click over here, we type app.css, and then we need to link this to the index HTML. And so how do we do that? So we click over here, we type link, and then tab, and then we put here the name of the CSS file that we want to connect to. For example, let's put body. Let's put body. I want to, for example, change the color of the body to, I want to change, I'm sorry. I use curly brackets here. Make sure that there's a space between the name. For example, I type background color. I put red. So let's look at it. So there's red. Another tip in CSS is that this one, if you hover over here, you can choose any color that you want, any hue, saturation that you like. But to make things look good, I will choose a certain color and I will put it here. Control S. There. Okay. So we're slowly going to make um, our our design take form and shape. But first, we need to fix our index HTML by putting a container called as a div. In a div, type div tab. We're going to put everything inside of the div. But in this case, we'll just be leaving out the word profile. We will be copying everything else. Cut, Control B. Okay. I think I want to create another div inside of this to just separate the picture with the text. Okay. Now another thing that I would like to do is that I would like to center things properly. I would like to center the word profile here. So I'm going back to my app.css. I'll be typing h1 since the profile is in the h1 tag. If you want to center stuff, we type text align and then we click on center and then Control S. Let's check it out. Oh, it's centered. Now you might be thinking, how will we center the rest of the objects? Okay, before we do that, let's go back to our index.html and then let's put an additional detail on the div. Let's name this as class equals sign. And then let's name this as card. And then this div, let's name this as container. Later, I will show you why do we need to put class names on the div. Okay. So the rest of the mother div or the parent div is named as card. So we do dot card to indicate that we're referring to class name. And then we will be putting here we'll be putting inside this margin auto. And let's go back. Still not centered. Why is that? Okay. What we're going to do next is that we're going to set width 20% and the height 20%. Control S. There. So we were able to center it a little bit. Next, what we'll be doing is that we're going to we're going to alter the size of this picture, like this one. We'll alter the size of this picture by going back to index.html, and we're going to resize it. Let's go here to image, and then use type style equals to with 100%. There. So it adjusted on the size of its parent div, the parent div. So it looks organized now. It looks better now. Next, what I want to do is that I want to put a certain shape around our profile. Let's go to app.css. I want to put a certain shape around our profile. So I'm going to do border radius. Border radius, that it makes the corners of the div rounder. You just need to put some basic around it, percentage on it, and then to make it look embossed, we will do a box shadow. So the box shadow, it creates the optical illusion that our div is casting a shadow. As you can see, it suddenly had this shape onto it. Next, we will be, as you can see, the Sean Hernandez, the other details, they don't have their color is the same as the background. So let's change that. So let's type background color, type white, Control S. It has a color. Now, the next thing that we're going to work on is the container. Remember, in the index.html, we named this div as container. So we create this dot container, curly brackets, and then in the dot container, we will put some padding between the names and the border. Type padding 2 pixels, 2 pixels, and then 16 pixels. Control S. There. So as you can see, it has there's a certain space between the text and the border. And then we also need to shape the picture. How do we do that? We do that by typing here img, and then we copy this and then we just paste it here. Control S. And let's see what it looks like now. But we don't want to put some border radius on the bottom of the picture. So how do we do that? So what we do is that we do something like this. Border radius, top left radius, we put, let's say, 15%, and then border radius, border top right radius, same then, Control S. Let's look at our work. There. So is there a similarity? Okay. So I hope you like the lesson for today, and see you again next meeting.